Welcome to the captivating realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our exciting new stories. Enjoy the journey.
The Galactic Council's chamber was alive with tension. Representatives from the galaxy's most powerful species had gathered urgently, facing an unprecedented threat. Turkin, a ruthless alien warlord whose empire spanned multiple star systems, had set his sights on an unlikely target, Earth. To some council members, Earth was known, though it was a young, remote world. Only recently had humans begun to venture into space. Yet their potential hadn't gone unnoticed. In their brief time among the stars, humans had shown remarkable adaptability and resilience. The Council realized that if Turkin acted against Earth, it could ignite a series of events that would destabilize a large portion of the galaxy. Turkin was not one to be easily reasoned with. He ruled with absolute authority, leading a legion of fierce warriors, all focused on one purpose: conquest. The Council had previously managed him through diplomacy, but this time, they feared words alone wouldn't be enough. Councillor Victra, a skilled diplomat, spoke softly to the assembly. Humans are unlike any other species we've encountered. We must act before Turkin makes a grave mistake. His arrogance could be his downfall. The Council was in agreement. A delegation would be dispatched to Turkin's capital to warn him Earth was off limits. But many suspected he would scoff at their message. The Council chose the delegation quickly. Consisting of diplomats and military advisors experienced in dealing with Turkin. Leading them was Councillor Vrax, a seasoned negotiator. Despite his experience, a heavy sense of foreboding settled over him as they prepared for the journey. As they traveled to Turkin's world, Vrax couldn't ignore the feeling that this encounter would be unlike any other. Turkin's recent victories had made him bolder, and his empire stretched wider than ever. His ambition now felt limitless. Upon arrival at Turkin's fortress, a towering, imposing structure dominating his capital's skyline, the delegation was met by a squad of heavily armed soldiers, their faces hidden behind impenetrable helmets. Turkin was clearly preparing for war. Inside, they walked through halls filled with trophies from conquered worlds. Banners of fallen empires hung alongside alien weapons and relics. It was a stark reminder of Turkin's power. Finally, they reached the throne room, where Turkin sat on an enormous throne crafted from the bones of an extinct species. Towering over the delegation, his black, battle-scarred armor absorbed the surrounding light. His piercing yellow eyes fixed on Vrax as he entered. "You've come to beg for peace again?" Turkin's voice resonated through the chamber, dripping with contempt. Vrax steadied his voice and replied, "Warlord Turkin, we come not to beg but to warn. Earth may be a young world, but it is no easy target. Its people are resilient, unpredictable, and could disrupt the galaxy's delicate balance." Turkin sneered, a cold smile forming. "Humans. A primitive race, barely able to explore space. You insult me by suggesting they're a threat." Vrax held his gaze. "They're unlike the others you've defeated," he insisted. "They adapt quickly, show resourcefulness, and survive challenges that would destroy others. They're capable of surprising even the most powerful adversaries." The warlord leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "I have crushed every species that dared defy me. Earth will be no different." Vrax understood that words would likely not sway Turkin. "You may succeed in invading Earth," he warned, "but the cost will be far greater than you realize. The humans have allies, even within this council, who won't stand by while you threaten their world." Turkin laughed, his laughter echoing across the room. "Allies? You mean the council, a group of bureaucrats too weak to act decisively? You're all afraid of my strength and the truth that no species can stop me." Vrax remained composed. "The council does not fear you, Turkin. We simply wish to avoid needless destruction. This is your final warning: leave Earth untouched, or face the consequences." The warlord rose from his throne, casting a shadow over the delegation. "I don't take warnings from cowards. Earth will fall like the rest. You're dismissed." Vrax and the others bowed and departed, their mission a failure. As they exited the fortress, Vrax understood that the galaxy was on the brink of war. Turkin wouldn't listen, he would attack Earth, and the resulting devastation would reach far beyond humanity. En route back, Vrax sent a grim message to the Council: Turkin will not relent. Prepare for the worst. The Council received news of Turkin's impending invasion quickly. While many feared the worst, some held out hope that humanity might surprise them. Earth had a history of beating the odds. Despite their technological disadvantage, humans possessed a unique strength: creativity. Throughout their history, they had consistently overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. They were survivors, driven by an unyielding will to adapt and thrive under any circumstance. In Earth's hidden command center, high-ranking officials hurried to evaluate the threat. Satellite images revealed a massive fleet forming at the edge of the solar system. Turkin's armada was unlike anything humanity had seen before. General Alice Munro, a leading strategist, stood at the center of the defense preparations. "We've survived impossible odds before," she told her team. "We rebuilt after global wars, we overcame ecological crises, and we've stood up to every challenge. This will be no different. We're going to show them what humanity is made of." Munro knew that brute strength wouldn't be enough. Turkin's forces had both the numbers and technology. Earth would have to rely on its greatest advantage: unpredictability. She devised a strategy that took advantage of the one thing Turkin's forces underestimated: human ingenuity. As the alien fleet approached, the people of Earth united as never before. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers worked tirelessly, setting up defenses, refining tactics, and crafting weapons to outsmart the invaders. With Turkin's armada closing in, the world watched with determination rather than despair. "We won't be conquered," Munro said. "If Turkin thinks this will be an easy victory, he's in for the fight of his life." And as the first ships breached Earth's atmosphere, humanity stood ready, their resolve unwavering. They were about to show the galaxy why humanity should never be underestimated. The sky darkened as Turkin's fleet descended upon Earth, casting shadows over cities. Enormous alien dreadnoughts loomed, dwarfing anything humans had ever seen. Turkin's forces pressed on, launching waves of fighters and ground troops worldwide. But Earth's defenses were far from unprepared. In her command bunker, General Munro monitored the battlefield, watching every move Turkin's forces made. His strategy was clear: overwhelm and conquer with sheer force. But Munro had different plans. "All units, initiate Phase 1, she ordered. Around the globe, coordinated defenses went into action. Earth's orbital platforms, equipped with powerful rail guns and EMPs, targeted the heart of Turkin's fleet. Ships that had seemed impervious began to falter as their systems failed, while smaller vessels exploded on impact. Humanity's opening strike had landed. Humanity's fierce resistance took them by surprise. "They didn't expect us to fight back with such intensity," Munro murmured under her breath. On the ground, the situation was equally tense. Turkin's elite warriors, massive, intimidating figures encased in advanced armor, descended on Earth's major cities, expecting to crush human resistance swiftly. But instead of panic, they faced an unexpected mix of guerrilla tactics, sabotage, and unconventional warfare. In New York, makeshift barricades lined the streets as both soldiers and civilians used whatever they could find to fight back: homemade explosives, drones, and cyber attacks targeting the invaders and exploiting weaknesses in their otherwise superior technology. What Turkin had dismissed as a primitive species now fought with an ingenuity and coordination that caused his forces to stumble. "They may have the tech, but they don't know how to fight like us," Captain Marcus Reyes said to his squad, launching yet another ambush on an enemy patrol in the ruins of downtown Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Munro's secret weapon was being prepared, hidden deep underground from the Turkin forces. Humanity's brightest minds had been working on something that could change the tide, a weapon that didn't destroy but disrupted. "Activate the neural disruptor," Munro commanded. Across the planet, a network of concealed towers emitted a low-frequency pulse aimed directly at the Turcan soldiers, scrambling their neural pathways. Unable to communicate or coordinate, the once formidable invaders faltered, spreading panic through their ranks. In some areas, human forces managed to push them back entirely, reclaiming control of key locations. In orbit, the disruption affected even the command ships, which, now disconnected from their ground units, struggled to maintain control. The meticulously coordinated invasion began to unravel. From his flagship, Turcan watched the chaos unfold, his yellow eyes narrowing in fury. This was not the easy conquest he'd anticipated. Impossible, he growled. How can they be this resilient? His advisors remained silent, at a loss. His entire empire was built on the belief that no species could withstand his overwhelming force. But here he faced something far more dangerous, a species that refused to surrender. On the ground, General Monroe observed the shifting tide of the battle. But she knew the danger was far from over. Turcan hasn't made his move yet, she told her team. He's watching, waiting. We need to force his hand. If they could force him into direct action, she thought, perhaps they could exploit his weaknesses. We're going to take the fight to him, she decided. Prepare the strike teams. Target his flagship. With the invaders faltering and humanity regrouping, a bold plan began to unfold. Special forces, armed with the latest experimental technology, were dispatched on a mission to infiltrate Turcan's command ship. Their objective: disable the warlord's command center and cut off the invasion at its head. Under cover of night, the strike teams boarded small, agile crafts and launched toward the massive alien vessel. The mission was high stakes, and many knew they might not return, but if they succeeded, they could shatter Turcan's entire war effort. As they approached the flagship, anti-aircraft fire lit up the sky. The pilots skillfully dodged blasts until they reached a landing bay on the ship's underside. Brace for landing, the pilot shouted as they touched down. The strike team, led by Captain Reyes, stormed out, weapons at the ready. Their path was blocked by Turcan's heavily armored elite guards, who countered each human tactic with disciplined, fierce resistance. In his command center, Turcan watched, his patience wearing thin. Rising from his throne, he ordered his personal guard to prepare. If they wish to face me directly, he sneered, then I shall oblige them. Back on Earth, General Monroe monitored the strike team's progress, knowing the final confrontation was close. We're counting on you, she urged Reyes. Turcan must fall, or this war will drag on. In the depths of the alien vessel, Reyes and his team made their way toward Turcan's throne room. After battling through fierce resistance, they reached the throne room, a cavernous chamber adorned with trophies from Turcan's conquests. At the far end, the towering warlord himself waited, drawing a massive energy blade. So, you are the ones responsible for this defiance, he boomed. Impressive. But it will not save you, Reyes replied defiantly, you underestimate us, Turcan. We're not here to save ourselves, we're here to end you. As the final showdown ensued, Reyes activated a hidden feature in his suit, a high-frequency pulse generator that disrupted Turcan's energy blade. Stunned, Turcan stared at his now useless weapon. That's your mistake, Reyes said, pressing forward, firing directly into the warlord's weakened armor. Turcan staggered, then collapsed, defeated. With his downfall, the invasion quickly unraveled. Monroe received the signal she'd been waiting for. You did it, Reyes, she said, her voice filled with relief. As humanity celebrated its victory, the Galactic Council, which had observed the battle from afar, began reassessing Earth's position in the galaxy. Acknowledging their resilience and ingenuity, Council leaders extended an offer to include humanity in the galactic community. Earth's people emerged from shelters, staring at the remnants of Turcan's fleet in the sky, their victory hard-won and unforgettable. This celebration felt different. It wasn't merely a mark of victory but a poignant reminder of what they had endured and how much they had evolved. As Monroe departed from the gathering, her mind shifted to the future. Earth had triumphed in the battle, but now came the daunting task of establishing its presence in the galaxy. She understood that they could not achieve this alone, they needed allies and must quickly adapt to the intricacies of galactic politics. One lesson Monroe had learned from the war was that humanity was capable of far more than anyone had ever envisioned. As the stars began to illuminate the evening sky, she felt a surge of anticipation. Earth had withstood its greatest challenge. And now it was time for humanity to ascend to new heights, to chart a new course among the stars. Weeks passed since the fall of Tekken, and while Earth was on the mend, the scars of war remained visible on the landscape and in the hearts of its citizens. Reconstruction efforts surged ahead rapidly, driven by a united planet and a newly formed alliance with the Galactic Council. The message was clear: Earth was no longer alone. Yet, beyond its atmosphere, the galaxy watched with keen interest. Turk's sprawling empire had fragmented, and his former warlords were now competing for dominance. The power vacuum left in the aftermath was perilous, with the potential to ignite a conflict that could engulf many worlds. Amid this galactic uncertainty, the Galactic Council took swift action to stabilize the region. Counselor Vrax, now Earth's main diplomatic liaison, frequently visited the planet. He collaborated closely with General Monroe and key leaders, ensuring that humanity's integration into the wider galaxy was smooth and that Earth had a voice in the emerging order. "We must prepare for what lies ahead," Vrax urged during a strategic meeting with Monroe and her advisors. "Tekken may be gone, but his warlords are still out there. Some will seek alliances, while others will seek vengeance." Monroe gazed out from the large window of the newly rebuilt command center, taking in the skyline of the capital. The city bore the marks of battle, charred buildings and remnants of defense structures, but an unmistakable sense of resilience filled the air. Turning to Vrax, she asked, "What do you propose we do?" "We must consolidate Earth's new position," Vrax replied earnestly. "The Council sees tremendous potential in your people, but to truly secure your place, you'll need allies beyond the Council. There are factions out there, species that fear what Tekken represented, and they will look to Earth for leadership. We cannot let this chance slip away." Monroe nodded, acutely aware of the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Surviving is no longer just about defense, it's about making sure we are never vulnerable again." She recognized this moment as pivotal in human history. In the ensuing months, humanity cautiously stepped onto the galactic stage. Earth's diplomats, scientists, and military leaders journeyed to distant worlds, forging alliances and creating trade routes. The same creativity and ingenuity that had helped them defeat Tekken now became their most valuable diplomatic assets. Earth's unique perspectives and innovative strategies intrigued many alien species, opening avenues for collaboration. However, not all were eager to embrace humanity. Some viewed Earth's rise as a direct threat, fearing that the same unpredictability that enabled them to defeat Tekken could make them dangerous. Among the scattered warlords of Tekken, whispers of retaliation grew louder. From the remnants of Tekken's former strongholds, a new leader was emerging. Dren, one of Tekken's most ruthless generals, began uniting the warlords under his banner, driven by a fierce desire for revenge and reclamation of power. He was determined not to allow Earth's victory to go unpunished. On a desolate planet far from trade routes, Dren gathered the remaining warlords in a dimly lit chamber. A towering figure clad in battle-scarred armor, with red eyes burning with fury, he had served Tekken loyally. The defeat of his master at the hands of humans had ignited a fierce rage within him. "We will retaliate," Dren growled, slamming his fist on the table. "Tekken's death must be avenged. Earth will pay for its arrogance." The warlords murmured their agreement, though doubt flickered in their eyes. Dren sensed their fear, aware that they were intimidated by Earth's strength and the unpredictability of its new allies. "We underestimated them once," one warlord spoke cautiously. "The humans are not like other species we've conquered. Their unpredictability makes them a threat." Dren scoffed, dismissing the warlord's concerns. "That is why we won't confront them directly. We will strike where they are weakest." Earth is still in the process of rebuilding and establishing its place in the galaxy. We will exploit their vulnerabilities. And when the moment is right, we will crush them. With a dark glint in his eyes, Dren detailed his plan. His forces would operate in the shadows, executing sabotage missions and undermining Earth's alliances. He understood that although Earth had grown stronger, its position in the galaxy remained fragile. If he could foster discord and weaken their newfound unity, he could create the conditions for a final, devastating strike. Back on Earth, reports of Dren's movements began to filter in. General Monroe and Captain Reyes, now celebrated heroes, were once again summoned to prepare for the looming confrontation. "We've beaten Tekken," Monroe asserted during a briefing with Reyes and top military officials. "But Dren is a different challenge. He won't repeat Tekken's mistakes, he'll attack from the shadows, where we least expect it." Reyes, who had led the strike team that took down Tekken, nodded firmly. "We need to take the initiative. We can't afford to wait for him to make the first move." Monroe concurred, feeling the urgency of the situation. This isn't just a defensive matter anymore. If we want to secure Earth's future, we must eliminate this threat before it can escalate. A new strategy was formed, focusing on proactive measures. Earth's forces, alongside their allies from the Galactic Council, would locate Dren's hidden bases. Time was of the essence. Dren was already inciting discord among Earth's new allies. And the longer he remained at large, the more dangerous he would become. The operation was swift and decisive. With the help of advanced reconnaissance technology from their new allies, Earth's forces pinpointed Dren's main stronghold hidden deep within an asteroid field, a treacherous location that was difficult to navigate but crucial to the warlord's operations. Captain Reyes led the assault, his team once again at the forefront of the mission. The ensuing battle was fierce. Earth's forces had grown stronger since their initial confrontation with Tekken. Their technology had advanced, their tactics had evolved, and their resolve had never been stronger. Dren fought defiantly until the end. Engaging Reyes in a brutal, climactic duel that showcased their skills and determination. Ultimately, just as Tekken had fallen, so too did Dren, his ambitions crushed beneath the weight of Earth's unwavering resolve. With Dren's defeat, the final remnants of Tekken's empire crumbled. The galaxy, once overshadowed by the warlord's reign of terror, began to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Earth's vital role in dismantling that reign was clear, and the dynamics of galactic politics were shifting. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council officially recognized Earth as a central power in the new order. Humanity, once isolated and technologically inferior, had demonstrated its worth, not just as survivors, but as capable leaders. General Monroe, Captain Reyes, and their teams received accolades across the galaxy, celebrated for their bravery and sacrifice. However, for them, the victory was not about glory, it was about ensuring that Earth would never again face such existential threats. In a solemn ceremony on Earth, beneath the same skies that had once been filled with enemy ships, Monroe addressed the planet and its allies. "We have shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. We have proven that when we stand united, there is nothing we cannot overcome. We faced our darkest hour and emerged not only as survivors but as a beacon of hope for others. It is our duty to ensure that the sacrifices made will not be in vain. That we will build a future of peace and cooperation among the stars." As her words resonated through the crowd, a renewed sense of unity and purpose filled the air. Humanity was poised to embrace its role in the galaxy, not just to defend itself but to offer its strengths and foster a new era of collaboration and understanding among diverse species. The future awaited, brimming with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. As the echoes of Monroe's speech faded into the twilight, the atmosphere on Earth was electric with anticipation and resolve. With Dren defeated and the remnants of Tekken's regime dismantled, the Galactic Council recognized an opportunity to reshape the galaxy. Leaders from various planets gathered to discuss the formation of a new alliance, one that would prioritize peace, cooperation, and the collective strength of its members. Monroe, now a respected figure among the galactic leaders, attended these meetings with an unwavering sense of duty. Alongside Counselor Vrax, she worked to establish Earth as a pivotal player in this new interstellar community. Discussions revolved around economic collaboration, technological sharing, and mutual defense pacts, strategies designed to prevent the rise of another tyrant like Tekken. As the months turned into years, Earth's influence grew. Scientists and engineers collaborated with alien species, exchanging knowledge and ideas that sparked innovation. Military leaders trained together, fostering relationships that transcended species boundaries. Earth was no longer just a survivor, it was becoming a leader in galactic affairs. However, not all was serene. Whispers of dissent lingered in the far reaches of the galaxy. Dren's defeat had not eradicated the threat of lingering warlords, instead, it had fractured them into smaller factions, some of which were eager to reclaim their lost power. A sense of urgency propelled Monroe and her allies to remain vigilant against potential uprisings. One fateful day, while examining intelligence reports, Monroe noticed an alarming trend. Several former warlords had begun to unite under a new leader, a charismatic figure named Varkon, who was rallying support among those disillusioned by the new order. Varkon painted a vision of vengeance, promising to restore the old ways and reclaim the dominance that Tekken once wielded. Recognizing the danger Varkon posed, Monroe convened an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. The room buzzed with tension as leaders from across the galaxy gathered to discuss the resurgence of the warlord factions. Monroe stood before them, her voice steady yet urgent. Varkon's rise cannot be underestimated. He is gaining traction among those who feel abandoned by the Council's new direction. If we do not act swiftly, we risk plunging the galaxy into chaos once more. We must unite to counter this threat, not just for Earth's sake but for the stability of the entire galaxy. Counselor Vrax nodded in agreement. Monroe is right. This is a pivotal moment. We have a choice, to stand together or allow division to breed fear and conflict. We must send a strong message that the galaxy will not tolerate tyranny. The Council deliberated fiercely, weighing their options. It was decided that an intergalactic summit would be held on Earth, inviting all factions, including Varkon's supporters. The aim was to address grievances openly and create a platform for dialogue. It was a bold strategy, one that could either unify the galaxy or spark even greater conflict. As preparations for the summit began, Monroe felt a mix of hope and apprehension. Would Varkon see this as an opportunity for genuine dialogue, or would he view it as a chance to further his ambitions? With the stakes so high, she knew that the success of this summit could determine the fate of the galaxy. The day of the summit arrived, and delegates from various planets, along with representatives of the former warlord factions, gathered in Earth's newly constructed Galactic Assembly Hall. The atmosphere was charged with tension as they took their seats, a diverse group representing different cultures, ideologies, and histories. Monroe opened the summit, her voice resonating with conviction. We are gathered here today not as enemies, but as partners in shaping a future free from the shadows of tyranny. The past has taught us valuable lessons about the costs of division. We have the power to write a new chapter together. Varkon, seated among the delegates, listened intently. When it was his turn to speak, he rose, exuding charisma and confidence. Humanity speaks of unity, but can you truly embrace those who once opposed you? We were oppressed under Tekken, and now you seek to dictate our future. We will not be silenced. Nor will we follow your lead without assurance of our place in this new order. His words ignited a fierce debate among the delegates, with emotions running high. Some sided with Varkon, echoing the frustrations of those who felt marginalized by the new power dynamics, while others supported Monroe's vision of cooperation and shared prosperity. The tension in the hall grew palpable, threatening to erupt into chaos. Determined to steer the conversation back to productive grounds, Monroe called for calm. I understand your concerns, Varkon, and I respect your right to voice them. But we must find common ground if we are to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. What assurances can we provide to those who feel left out? The summit continued with heated discussions, but amid the discord, moments of understanding emerged. Monroe facilitated dialogues between factions, encouraging compromises and shared visions. As the hours passed, the atmosphere gradually shifted from hostility to a cautious willingness to collaborate. Finally, after a long day of deliberation, a tentative agreement was reached. The delegates would form a council of nations, ensuring that all voices, regardless of their past allegiances, would have representation in decision-making processes. This council would prioritize the needs of all member species, fostering collaboration and security in the galaxy, as the summit concluded. Monroe felt a surge of hope. While challenges lay ahead, the willingness to engage in dialogue marked a pivotal moment for the galaxy. Varkon, still a wildcard, agreed to participate in the council, albeit with a watchful eye on the proceedings. In the months that followed, the Council of Nations began to take shape. Earth played a vital role, leading initiatives for technological exchange, cultural understanding, and mutual defense agreements. Old rivalries began to fade as alliances formed, demonstrating that even the deepest divides could be bridged through communication and cooperation. Yet, in the shadows, Varkon remained a formidable figure. He continued to rally support, seeking to undermine the Council's efforts while preparing his faction for any opportunity to seize power. Monroe and her allies knew they had to remain vigilant. While peace had been brokered, the potential for conflict always loomed on the horizon. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but humanity had proven its resilience before. With hope in their hearts and a commitment to a brighter future, Monroe and her allies prepared to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. Together, they were ready to defend the newfound unity they had fought so hard to achieve. The legacy of their struggle would be a testament to the power of cooperation, standing as a beacon of hope for generations to come.